would be interesting. And if they wanted to bring those conditions forward, certainly we could analyze those. I know on the other side, where the vendor is collecting the data and producing the data and the data points, then they protect it, such as ShotSpotter. They control their data, and so therefore it's not disclosable under the contract. But given the fact that this is LMPD's data that they're using and exporting to a vendor, I would think that we should be able to get that data as well.
Do you know for the how transparent they are about their proposal? Was this like one that they're looking at? Was there multiple? How do you know about that?
That was done by Metro Council, and it was a single vendor approval. I don't really know the history of the request. As a part of the request from the vendor, they state that New Orleans Police Department is going to be a client of theirs as well. I reached out through the former monitor of New Orleans, who has contacts with the New Orleans Police Department, and they said that they have no intention of using City Square to do any of the analysis for their department at this point. And that was as of 2 weeks ago.
I only asked because, like you said, the tool is for them to show how they are complying and whatnot. But then when we move the signal source solution in the background of the co-founder, it is really based on marriage policy, and he has, I wouldn't say an agenda, but he has a history and problematic controversy where he's trying to point out there is no bias in policing. And so that if he's going by that mindset already, is it ethical for him to use a solution where there's already, there's like this agenda for it? So I looked up the solution, it is more so about performance based, and that's fine, but that's not the issue at hand, what we're trying to look for. That was just my perspective.
Yeah, and I also think it's interesting that they are acknowledging that they're going to be using artificial intelligence in order to conduct this analysis. So that's why I think it would be important for us to conduct our own analysis to reach a conclusion. And we may reach the same conclusion. But I think Dr. Whetstone is more than capable of conducting an analysis of that data and reaching a conclusion.
So what's the next step?
Well, I guess we'll wait for a firm denial first for the data, and then go from there. What's
Anything in our legislation that established civilian review that precludes us from getting data? It may, or is there anything that explicitly states that we can have access to data? Anything in that, in the memorandum signed with the city, whatever, that addresses this issue of that data?
I think that the ordinance is explicit in that we can request that type of information in order to analyze the practices of the department.
Okay, so we have the right to ask for data,
Yes, I believe we're authorized by the ordinance.
and then that's what we'll do.
All right, item E, board elections, March, happens every year. So, I turn that over to you all.
So the situation is I think most of us, if we can, serve our terms and serve until we are replaced. But certainly, I don't think you want to hold over serving as the chair of the board. If not, then, why don't we, have a vote here, formal vote, on whether or not, we should have, Mr. succeed and become the chair. All in favor, please, say aye, raise your hand. That's what folks on the phone, all ayes there? All right, very good. Congratulations. Unanimous, unanimous. So the question then becomes, vice chair. We certainly entertain nominations to serve as vice chair. You nominate yourself, you nominate somebody else. Thoughts about that? Don't make a scratch somebody.
I have a question before we get to that. So that we're all clear on who's rotating off of the board. Maybe that would help as well.
I think I like that I am.
Yes, it's Chair Berry, Member Green, Member Bussey, and Member Soriano.
I would respectfully yield to the role of board members to nominate vice chair. So I would say that I'm in the process.
I think that's right. I think that we all should get stuck with who the people who are leaving want. I don't seem right. While y'all are meditating, let me ask you something simple. Do you know, and I can say I know, do you know where the medical council is on rounding up replacements and such, where the mayor's office is? I remember it is a complicated process.
I do not. I know that the community entities listed in the ordinance were given a February 13th deadline to submit nominees to the mayor. And that is the last that I know of the process at this point.
Very good.
I would like to nominate Joel.
I was actually about to speak up and wants to say that, I will stand up and do it. As I nominate myself.
You don't have to just say it.
Still into it.
Okay.
Well, we'd be honored if you would.
What's the proper verbiage I'm supposed to say? I accept.
All right, very good. Would you like to vote on that, you think?
We close the nominations
All right.
on said name Joel. All those in favor of Joel becoming our vice chair? Raise your hand, say aye. And those of you on the phone, hear us?
Folks on the phone, we're asking if you confirm Joel as our new vice chair. All right, very good.
Thank you. Over the past year and the past few years, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Been an honor, privilege to get to do this, particularly here at the beginning. Very interesting process. Well, let's move ahead here to our investigation recommendation.
We need to know that, the consent decree.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
That's my bad.
You're exactly
I
right.
skipped one, consent decree update.
Yes.
Yes, so, on the 20th of March, or the 19th of March, the Department of Justice filed a request, an unopposed request, to extend the time to answer Judge Eaton's questions from the hearing that took place in January. Given that that was an unopposed motion, it was granted and the order was submitted to the court. So now the new response date by the Department of Justice is the 21st of April of 2025. And that is the latest as far as the consent decree over the past month since we last met.
Any further questions about that? Okay, now we're ready for investigation recommendation.
All right, sorry about that, but moving on, item A, 128 IG-2024, sorry. Complaint alleges that he filed a PSU complaint and PSU refused to investigate his applications. Our investigator reviewed body-worn camera, LMPD reports, and interviewed the complainant. Also, the investigator reviewed 7 PSU investigations filed by the complainant. We're recommending no further investigation. The OIG staff recommends no further investigation. The preliminary investigation revealed that the complainant filed a criminal report in November of 2024, alleging that a vehicle was following him and parking in front of his home. The case was assigned to a detective and investigated it. The detective was unable to substantiate the complainant's allegations, and the case was closed. On December 12th of 2024, the complainant went to the PSU office to make a complaint on the detective assigned to the criminal case that he filed in November. The allegations were failing to appropriately investigate the incident. The complainant did inform PSU that the detective assigned to this case was polite and professional and did not treat him with disrespect and took his calls and additional allegations. 66 separate incidents per the complainant. Complainant became upset with the detective assigned to his case after the detective told him that there was nothing that he could do. A member of the PSU reviewed the complainant's written statement, determined that there were no policy violations, and his complaint was denied. Complainant requested to speak with someone quote higher up regarding his allegations. The sergeant and lieutenant of the PSU both spoke to the complainant and was determined that there appeared to be no policy violation based upon the complainant's allegations. The preliminary investigation further revealed that the complainant has filed 7 PSU complaints. OIG staff reviewed all PSU investigations and determined that PSU conducted a complete and thorough investigation. The complaint currently has an appeal with the Louisiana Board of Health. The OIG staff found that LMP acted with a policy that was recommending no further investigation.
That's what I'm sending the text, do that.
Yeah, go ahead, can you just mute? On to 129-IG-2025. Complaint alleges that home was burglarized and perpetrator stole tile and copper. Complainant reports 524 with LMP after it occurred. Complaint alleges the home was burglarized a second time and the dryer was stolen. Complaint reports having an AirTag tracker on the dryer and knew where the dryer was located. Complaint reports filing a second report with LMP and alleges that they did not have record of the first incident he reported. Complaint alleges telling LMPD officers about the dryer and having a tracker. Complaint alleges detectives told him that, quote, they cannot do anything with that information. Complaint reports understanding legislature plays a big part in what police can and cannot do, but believes this case should be investigated. Our investigator reviewed LMP reports, computer-aided dispatch reports, and interviewed the complainant. We are recommending no further investigation.
Questions?
Oh, I'm sorry. OIG preliminary investigation determined that LMP officers followed policies and procedures during the investigation. LMP detectives followed up on leads provided by the complainant. On 7/17 of 24, the detectives went to a home where the alleged dryer was said to be. Residents of the home allowed the detectives to search the home, and it was determined that the dryer was not on the premises. Detectives closed the case due to exhausting all leads. So we're going to move on to further investigation.
May I have any questions about that? Okay.
Question on these, the first two complaints, just want to get a sense of these are good faith complaints, or do you think there's a degree of, constructive contract work? Is this, or, yeah, do the complainants kind of understand,
The severity of
yeah.
I think in one case, I think there's two separate issues for both cases. The first case deals with an aspect of being able to really minimally substantiate any of the allegations related to the person surveilling them in the black vehicle, I believe, as it was described. Secondly, the second case is, people are frustrated when things happen to them, and sometimes even though, maybe the department didn't communicate well enough that they had done these things, but we were able to establish that they had done it, and I think they were just frustrated and looking for that. And sometimes, that's what we are.
So that we could have addressed these things, but it was not proper paper trail or communication, but that's a possibility.
That's just a possibility. I'm sure the investigator probably knows better from looking at the file and taking the steps. But this communication does come across.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All right, I'll ask for a vote for the investigation.
All right, let's see. I've got to move on to 133.
Pardon? Yeah, let's